Right guys, a bit more of a relaxed video today, an informal one. So, start with a joke. My next door neighbour was stealing socks off my washing line. I was going to say something, but I got cold feet. What do you think? Okay, right, okie dokie. Now, guys, I'm going to talk to you today about Japanese monks. But if you have got some money to spend and you would like to support the channel, get yourself a copy of Tolkien's World, the ultimate unofficial guide to Tolkien's World, or the Book of Bushido. This is on pre-order now. Go get it. It's mint. It's took me a long time. Right, so, but if you're really here for Japanese stuff, the Book of Bushido is your main one to start with. Right, okay, Japanese monks. Now, this video is in no way meant to be detrimental or meant to be offensive to Japanese monks, but there is something out there that we have to speak about, and that is the spirituality of Japanese monks. Now, all of us at some point were guilty of the Japan spell, which means basically you think everything in Japan's amazing. The samurai were amazing noble warriors. The monks are spiritually enlightened, living on mountains, and there's secret knowledge to be gained from Japan. Now, the question of secret knowledge or knowledge about a higher purpose is there to be gained all over the world, not just Japan. But are Japanese monks spiritual? Now, I can only tell you from my personal experience, and I've lived in Japan for over 5 years, and I've hung around with monks, I have monk friends, I've taught monks in English classes and things like that. Now, there's something basically that hits you straight away when you live in Japan and you get past the first bit, is that monks are very much out for money, and not for anything nasty, but the simple fact is they run a family business. Now, the family business is, if you might be like, if you're new to this channel, you might be like, what family monk business, what are you on about? Basically, a temple is a family business with a collection point at the front and a small gift shop at the side. Pretty much what a temple is. And the other revenue that comes in is actually from regular donations from their local congregation and payment from grave space. So if you go to a Japanese cemetery or a Japanese temple, there'll be grave spaces there, and what you might not know is, you know, a certain amount of money is paid every specific period to keep those graves going. And I think after a certain amount of time that goes out, but for a long time you are paying for your grave space. Maybe even continuously. I'm not quite sure about the older graves, because then they become historical, but for a lot there is payment. There's also money going in from the congregation, and there's, you know, for different you know, things for whatever they're doing, funerals and all that, and there's also a donation box at the front, but there's also a gift shop at the side. So without doubt, monks are after money. Now, some of the monks I've met are money hungry and just want money, and some of them just want to keep their temple going. Now, to give you an example of what the monks spend their money on, I'll give you two stories. One of the monks I know, which is quite close, I've got a new motorbike, Anthony. I've got a new motorbike, Harley Davidson. Okay, right, so he rides his Harley Davidson, out he goes, enjoys it. So he's got money to spare if he's got a car, a family car, his car, the family car, and Harley Davidson, right? Think about that. Actually, I've got three stories. The second story is my fried chicken monk story, which is basically, I was up at Koyasan climbing, and there was people playing golf, you know, there was 7-Elevens, there was all of that, and you climb, you get to the top of Koyasan, and you're like that. A Subaru Japanese sports car comes in like that, and a monk gets out in his like monk attire, shaved head, goes into the 7-Eleven, a bit cocky and arrogant. He was only about 25, buys some fried chicken, and then complains about the change. Whether they get a discount, I'm not sure, but because you never get mischanged in Japan, they're always very careful with change. So somebody was complaining about the money and they gave him more money, so I'm assuming he got a discount or something like that, and then he just sped off in his Subaru. Do you know what I mean? He was literally the last thing monk. And the third one was, I used to teach a monk, and he was doing kuji and all this, but I used to teach English to a monk, and then he was basically saying, oh yeah, I had coffee, games of golf, just go out for some beers. You know what I mean? Like, none of my interactions with monks have been anything spiritual. I did go to a monastery, a temple, and basically go through the routine, sleep overnight, get up at 4 in the morning, do the zazen, do that, and then we went out for all you can eat chicken and bottles of Coke. Do you know what I mean? It's not. So if you're looking for spirituality, I'm not saying you can't find a spiritual monk in Japan. Of course you can. But on the main facts, the main points here is that actually you're going to struggle to find someone, a spiritual monk, because their entire life is devoted to keeping their businesses alive, and they never took this on as a vocation. They didn't go, you know what, I'm struggling with the world, I don't quite get this 9 to 5 stuff, it's not working for me, I'm trying to find something deeper, I'm going to spend my time studying the Buddhist texts in a monastery or a temple and become a better person and learn about Buddhism. They're born into it. Now, you can decide to become a monk, but this is why, if Stephen Nojiri from Tadagenji Samurai Traditions has been talking about this sort of stuff recently, basically, the Japanese monks don't stick to the correct vows, and there's lots of things they shouldn't be doing that they do. A lot of the Buddhism became corrupted in Japan. I don't mean corrupted, even though it was corrupted politically, if you like. It became corrupted. The teachings were gone from Indian Sanskrit to Chinese. They passed through Taoism and Buddhism. Buddhism passed through Taoism and yin yang and all that, and came out the other side, entered Japan, where the Indian and Chinese was then translated a third time into something else, and you get a right mess in Japan of the Buddhism, which can be a problem. But then it becomes its own Buddhism, and they're doing spells from India that don't speak. It's like, you know, Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Me going like, Rara Hakatum Lakatum Wal. And it's nothing like the original, but they've, put it into Japanified things. So that's the type of things you're looking at in Japan, is corrupted Buddhism, both politically and the teachings, the Dharma. You get people, it becomes a business, and you get a focus on money and keeping community graves alive and things like that. Inside of that, you will get honest people who are trying to find it, but you don't need to go to a Buddhist monk to find that. I remember another story for you. I went to a Yamabushi retreat for, to see Yamabushi and everything. And there was one there, they're called Weekend Yamabushi. They've got all the kit on and all the bangles and bongles. And he's just having a fag. And he's got his iPod at the time. It was an iPod. So he's just got his iPod and a fag like that. Puts his fag out. Yum, 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 climbs up the mountain. Do you know what I mean? So what can we take? Oh, by the way, guys, this goes back a long way. So William Adams, who was one of the first men to Japan in the year 1600 from England, states in one of his letters, or one of the letters surrounding the William Adams sort of journey, basically it says, on a Friday, all the monks come down from their monasteries and temples and go to the towns, get pissed and sleep with young boys and go to the brothels and things like that, and then go back and do all the prayers, and so, it's not a new thing. It's been a business in Japan for a long time. But Buddhism has been in Japan for the same amount of time that the English have been in England, meaning the Anglo-Saxons. So about 1,500 years, Buddhism has been in Japan. So if you're ever trying to put your head there, it's about the 5th or 6th century that Buddhism hits Japan, yeah? So, roughly, obviously it comes in dribs and drabs, and it gets more powerful and less powerful and all that. But it's about the same time that the Angles, the Saxons and the Jutes came to England. So that's the sort of influence it's had on that. Okay, guys, right, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you got any more jokes. My dad's been sending me some jokes as well by a phone. And let me know about your experiences. Do you have any experiences in Japan? Do get yourself a copy of Tolkien's World. It is coming out in November 2023, and it has been it's been a difficult write, but I've had a right good go of it. And of course, get Book of Bushido, and the Book of Ninja is also on audiobook now. Okay, guys, right, speak soon.